know ye that our brother Timothy is set at liberty, with whom if he come shortly, I will see you. So he's going to come, if he can, with Timothy, if he's released. Okay, together? That's profound. It stuns me to see the volume of commentators that choose to attack the idea that Paul wrote this letter. And I'm not saying there isn't a possibility with somebody else, but all the evidence points in one direction from 20 different points of view. There's another confirmation right here. Timothy, he was one of the best known of Paul's companions and fellow laborers. He was evidently one of Paul's own converts, as the apostle describes him as his beloved and faithful son in the Lord. That's Paul's phrase all through 3 of his letters. It's evident that his mother Eunice was converted to Christ on Paul's first missionary journey to Derbe and Lystra, and it was on the second one that he picks Timothy up and takes him along. And Apostle Paul, obviously was pretty impressed with this young guy, and he took and circumcised him so that he might conciliate the Jews. So since his mother was Jewish, Paul made sure he was circumcised so it wouldn't interfere with his ministry. And Timothy went with Paul through Phrygia, Galatia, Mysia, and to Troas and Philippi and Berea in Acts 17. Then he follows Paul to Athens and was sent by him with Silas on a mission to Thessalonica in Acts 17. And we find him at Corinth with Paul. And again, notice the apostle he's in Ephesus. Then he's sent on to Macedonia. He accompanied Paul afterwards into Asia, where he was with him for some time. All the way through, who's at his elbow? Timothy. The apostle was a prisoner at Rome. Timothy joined him in Philemon. And where it appears he also suffered imprisonment. That is, Timothy also was imprisoned. Okay? The last notice of Timothy is Paul's request that he should, quote, do his diligence to come before winter and bring the cloak that he left at Troas, which in the winter would mean very much to Paul in his dungeon about AD 67, which is about a couple of years after this epistle was written, by the way. This one, the one we're reading. According to tradition, after the apostle's death, Timothy settles in Ephesus as a sphere of labor, and it found an early martyr's grave. Eusebius makes him the bishop of Ephesus, and if that's true, then John's residence and death must have been later. Okay? Sepphoris reports that he was clubbed to death at Diana's feast for having denounced the licentiousness. That's just church father tradition, apparently. It was Paul's custom to associate with his own name that of one or more of his companions in the opening salutations of his epistles. Okay? Timothy's name occurs in 2 Corinthians, Philippians, Colossians, and Philemon as being associated with Paul there. And then also in 1 Thessalonians and 2 Thessalonians, he's also associated with them, even though they have a professional shorthand writer by the name of Silvanus. Continuing, salute all them that have rule over you and all the saints. They of Italy salute you. Now, the logical thing is he's probably writing it from Rome. Okay, but some people think, well, he probably wasn't, but it doesn't matter. He must have had some Italians at his elbow anyway, okay? They are present with the writer, either inside or outside the geographical borders, who knows? And so, but this does seem to suggest an origin during the first imprisonment, from which, after 2 years, he was subsequently released in the spring of 63 AD. That's the first imprisonment. And this would have been the writer of the Hebrews is 63 or 64. Okay. Same period when the prison epistles were also written. Philippians, Colossians, Ephesians, also Philemon was a